On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we are back with my $300 2013 Suzuki SX4. And today, we're gonna see how far we can make this thing survive with a terrible rod knock. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and today, like I said, we are back with the SX4, where it has been sitting on a charger for quite a while, and I got in today and turned the key, and it was dead. So, we already have a to-do list. It starts with changing the battery in this thing, just so we can get it to start again. I mean, it was actually holding a charge. The dome light came on just fine. When I tried to crank it over, that was it. So that's all she wrote for the battery that's in this car. We got to get that swapped out. And then, of course, in the last video, I said we would try to see how long this engine will run with a rod knock. Now, it's probably only knocking on one cylinder, and I know a million of you guys said, do a bearing slap. Drop the pan, pull the rod caps off this thing, and put bearings in it, slap it back together. Well, I did a quick Google search, and this engine is notorious for killing its rod bearings, apparently. And every single one that I looked at, people had pictures of the bottom end, the crank was destroyed. So I know we could shoestring some emery cloth in there. And you know, when I was a kid, we rebuilt engines like that. But today's engines are so much better than those old engines. The tolerances are so much tighter. Good luck doing the old emery cloth trick, especially when you're changing the size of the crank, right? The bearings aren't going to be sized correctly. It's not like we can easily measure that and get rod bearings that are gonna fit perfectly again. So we could slap it back together and it would go more miles. There's no doubt about that. But instead, let's just have some fun with this thing. It was $300, and I can't actually sell this car anyway. It was bought for the salvage yard because the interior was so nice. You guys all saw the interior is absolutely pristine. It's a 50,000 mile car. The engine's dead, everything else is pretty much good to go, especially the all-wheel drive system. So we had a couple options. One was rally it, but that was the plan until I heard the rod knock, and the new one is how far will an engine go with a rod knock and honey butter in the engine. Now, I thought honey butter was a joke until I found it at a garage sale. So Eric was always telling me about this honey butter that people would put in cars that were headed to the auction to make them survive long enough to sell. And I always figured it was just thick oil. But then I Googled how to be a shady used car salesman, and this popped up. Okay, can I say that? I think I can say that. It's a joke, all right? Especially if you're a cassette. It's a joke. But apparently there is something called motor honey, and it's probably, look how thick that stuff is. Look at that air bubble move. Wow. Anyway, we're gonna suck all the oil out of this thing, and we are going to change this to the internet's recommendations for a rod knock, and they are SAE 30, an antique oil that doesn't belong in any modern car. And they didn't say to put the honey butter in there, but we're gonna put the honey butter in there, and I really hope this thing just magically runs forever. I think that would be fun. This would be a really cool shop car for just running around the property and stuff like that, or maybe rallying one day. So I'm gonna start by changing the battery, getting this thing running so you guys can hear the rod knock again. Then we're gonna extract the oil with my fluid extractor over there. I wanna suck it all out instead of getting this up on the lift. And then we're gonna fill it back up with this motor honey and SAE 30 and see what happens. Does it shut up? We'll find out today on Watch Chair Go. We'll get back to work in a moment, but first I need to take a second to tell you about a really cool camera that I saw at SEMA. And you guessed it, this is it. And this isn't any normal camera. The reason I thought this was cool is because it is a 360-degree dash cam. So you can see from right here, you can see me, you can see Ford, you can see everything I'm seeing right now, because it has two Sony StarViz sensors in it, 2K each, and it combines those to make you a 5.2K panorama. It can do so many different video modes. You can have dual fisheye. You can just really set up anything you want, even vertical video. But this thing comes with a powered handle, so you can use it as an action camera, and that is what we are doing right now. So you've got portable power in the base that it just clips into. And the coolest thing is it's probably already with you because it's your dash cam in your car. I'm gonna show you guys how this thing looks when it's completely set up. And I should also mention it's got HDR. It has 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. It has its own app, so you can access all your footage on your phone without having to tear the camera out of the car or pull the SD card out. And it has GPS, so you can record your speed, any other data, in case the worst thing happens, a crash. It's got voice commands too, so you can start and stop recording without having to take your eyes off the road. And a couple seconds later, we've got the E360 recording 360 degrees from the front camera here, and our rear camera hooked up as well. And you can just slide it in and out of that mount super quick. If you're looking for just one camera that you can use in a bunch of different situations, the Vantrue E360 might be the camera for you. So hit the link in the description below to pick up your Vantrue E360 today. And huge thank you to Vantrue for being a continued supporter of automotive creators like me. Now, let's get back to work. Well, I grabbed a battery that I think is good. It was sitting on our pallet of good batteries, so hopefully. Wow! Did you hear that rattle on start? That was rough. All right, well. Oh, it's so bad. All right, well, we've got our rattle back, and it's almost out of gas, so we're gonna put some fuel in it from my tough jug, just because I really just want to use it. So, where's the gas go in this bad boy? Let's fill it up. Okay, she's warming up. I went ahead and put a quarter tank in it, and now it's time to suck the oil out. I think that's plenty warm enough. Let's get to it. All right, we are here at O'Reilly's to pick up an oil that I don't think I've bought for anything other than the oldest tractors in the fleet. SAE 30, like I said. So I hope they have some. What's going on? All right, we got 4 quarts of SAE 30 in here, which I'm glad you guys had on hand. And thanks.
No problem, bud.
Let's go see how far down the road we get. I don't know, this is gonna be a fun science experiment. Now for the fun part, trying to get this into the engine. So I got this vacuumed out with a little hiccup. My fluid extractor's filter was totally full. I was like, what is going on with this thing? It should have taken 30 seconds. And it took forever. But I jumped in there to the filter that's at the end of that thing between the hose and the part that goes in the dipstick there, completely clogged up. But that thing has vacuumed a lot of oil out of a lot of cars, so I understand. I will give it some credit. Ooh, I didn't want to get the goo all on me. But I did. Here we go, honey butter going in. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. If you guys have ever put Lucas in the transmission, you know how that goes. But I think Lucas works pretty well. I've seen it make transmissions last another 100,000 miles many times. But I know everybody was saying that I was pulling a Hoovy because he just did that with that Genesis. But he put the Lucas oil stabilizer in there, which I don't really think that's meant to save destroyed engines. I actually think that's a solid additive. The oil stabilizer, we've seen that work. We've all done that demo at O'Reilly's, and you guys remember the one where I spun at like 15,000 RPM. So, you know, I like the Lucas stuff. We like the Lucas stuff, right? This, I just have no idea. But we are almost all the way in. At least it has this perfectly sized spout to fit in the oil fill, and you can kind of force it down in there. The Lucas, you have that little tiny filler thing that's meant to go in the dipstick, and you can never get it in anything. Here is our heavy duty SAE 30, straight out of tractor land, baby. Capacity on this thing is supposed to be 4.76 quarts, so I got 4 quarts, and we're gonna assume that this is our 0.76 right here in the honey butter. So it'll be perfectly full, I hope. That is stringy. And of course, once we get down to the last one, I'll check it a few times so we don't wildly overfill the engine. We're doing real science here. We're not trying to just blow it up. I do actually want to see if it shuts up and how far it'll run. According to the dipstick, we are a half quart low, so let's put this last half quart in and then get out on the road before the sun goes down. Wintertime's tough, guys. Sun's going down at, what is it, 4 p.m. right now? 3 or 4 p.m.? I'm gonna guess that's a half quart. We're ready to do science. This thing's filled back up. Let's see what she sounds like. Didn't help at all. It still sounds like rod knock. Oh well. Let's go drive it. I actually do think it made it way quieter. If you guys remember before at idle, once it warmed up, it's pretty warm right now. That knocking was intense. But now it's like a faint tick, 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 tick. So maybe it shuts it up a little bit, but you sure can't hide that D-cell knock. So, I mean, maybe it's a real trick that shady used car dealers use, but I really don't think there's any world where you're actually hiding a rod knock from anybody. If you listen, I mean, I guess you could be like, it's a lifter, but it's very clearly an engine. Well, we're moving and it's running all right. I'm actually pretty impressed. I've never driven this on the road before. The brakes definitely are cleaning up and everything's kind of working the way it should. I think the fan's blowing, like literally everything in here works. Oh, check engine light's gone. It fixed itself. This is a self-fixing car. 0 lights on the dash, which is hilarious. But I would say most of it's because there's not any major issue other than the entire engine being bad. And it's pretty hard for the engine to sense rod knock when it's looking for spark knock. The windshield looks absolutely terrible though. Ooh, the idle just got a little rough. I can start feeling it through the pedal. That didn't last long. We're gonna keep driving it. Maybe it's gonna drop a cylinder. Maybe it won't get me home. Oh, that felt weird. Another weird shudder through the driveline. Maybe it won't last long at all. It might be done. When I first picked this car up, I did let it idle for a long time. And when it was sitting out there idling, things got worse and worse to where it sounded like it didn't want to keep running after, I don't know, 20 minutes or something like that. So there is a chance that it was just too far gone from the beginning and we can't even save it with our honey butter. Even the wiper blades have fallen apart and they're like, please let me die. Both of them. Please stop. But we're not stopping. We're doing the speed limit. Also, let's see, full pull time, you know, it had to happen. Ooh. Oh, I don't know if you guys heard that, but it came onto the power and it was starting to make a pull. It was pretty good power. And then I lost power and then it started like knocking uncontrollably at almost wide open throttle. I think we're gonna put a hole in the block if I keep it up. I'd rather make it back to the shop. So we're just gonna go ahead and turn around because the honey butter and the SAE 30 have not saved this engine, which is unfortunate. Oh, listen to that. That's so bad. Now I've got an on throttle knock. It's even worse. Cleaned up? It's worse. Please don't fail me. I let right back out of the throttle. We might go ahead and send it here in just a second, but I am gonna turn around first because we are getting pretty far away from the shop and it's a long way to push the car home. Oh, it sounds very bad. This thing is upset, but I know we all wanna know, what does a full throttle launch look like in an all-wheel drive 4-cylinder car? Can't see anything out of the windshield, but we're gonna do it. Okay. It was the worst launch of all time. It barely spun the front tires and then hooked up, but there's just no power. This engine is done for. It's funny, if I get around like the load ranges where it's knocking really, really hard, it drives amazing. Honestly, let's set cruise on. There's the cruise light, set cruise. Oh wow, what a wonderful car. It's actually nice to drive. And look at that, we're even getting 40 miles a gallon as the engine is on its last breath right there. And we've got really plenty of amenities to get around. It's a good little daily driver. Guys, I know we all watched Hoovie drive up this hill with his Land Rover, and I am here with the SX4, and we're gonna try it. But on video, it didn't look like he was doing really anything that crazy. This hill is straight up.
Off-roading always looks terrible on camera. Like, it never looks as dramatic, but yeah, it's I said 30 degrees, it's probably about 45 degrees.
I can't believe you drove up this.
Yep.
It's a straight drop, 8 feet.
You can do it.
I cannot do.
You can do it.
All right, let's see let's see what it's got in it. I hope we have the power to do this.
You weren't selling the bumper, were you?
No, the bumper's trash.
Okay, you're gonna have to get it sort of like that. Yep.
All right.
Otherwise, you're just gonna dig in.
I don't think
the all-wheel drive isn't working.
It's not a Land Rover.
No.
Oh,
nope.
Here.
Did it die?
Nope. I put it in, it was in all-wheel drive auto. I put it in lock.
Okay.
But it's trying to die, it's shuddering.
Whistling JR here.
That's right. Honestly though, these came off nicely.
Okay.
Wide open throttle on the floor and it just said no.
You need length, I guess. Yeah. Then.
I need a run up.
Yes. It's eating its own wheel liner.
Is it?
Yep. Whoa. Hold on. Let me rock it here.
I got some action.
Oh.
I think I can actually just back right up.
Don't.
Oh, sorry.
I was on it.
Should I try wheeling a little more?
Sure.
Wide open. Momentum's the only way.
That's a pretty high mark there, actually. So, oh, that's close. Come on, Whistling JR. There you go. Oh, it's grabbing at the top. There you go.
If we hit it at maybe 40, it's got it in it.
Come on, Suzuki. Yes! That's pretty good. Oh. Thanks for the landscaping, the brush clearing.
It won't do anything, it has no power.
That's a neutral drop.
Yep, I can't believe that didn't go anywhere. Oh, that's about it. I thought I was trying to be easy on it here, but she's done. And my hopes and dreams have been dashed as well. I've gone my entire life thinking SX4s, the champions of rally, were actually incredible. But after trying to off-road it over there at Hoovies for 15 minutes, I don't know how it's a champion of rally. Power or not, without lockers, it simply will not climb. At least the door open chime's nice. I actually did leave that back door open a crack. But huge thanks to Tyler for letting me tear up some stuff in the backyard over there with this. I really did want to go kind of rally it before it died. I also thought we were going to have, you know, 400, 500 trouble-free miles, but instead we had about 3, and this engine is toast. So now you know, shady used car dealer tricks or not, they're probably not gonna get one over on you. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.watchjargo.com for cool shirts, not like this, and please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. I really wouldn't have put all that brand new oil in here if I thought it was gonna die immediately. I would have just stuck the honey butter in and called it done, but unfortunately, it was way worse than any of us imagined. Everybody thought we could do a bearing slap, but you're not doing a bearing slap when the thing dies in 5 minutes. No chance. We made it home, which is saying something, but we've also made it to the bitter end. Listen to this. We've got the metal on metal squeak. Will it even start? That's the question. What a champion. What a champion. Ripped off all these wheel well liners to save time because we're not selling anymore though. I made the mistake of selling some wheel well liners. They are impossible to ship. So from now on, those just go in the trash can. The saddest thing about this is now I have to get it back in the shop and completely uninstall my Vantrue E360. I actually, like I said, I thought this thing was gonna run for a while. We were gonna have some fun with it. That camera's pretty cool.